So Mojang just revealed the first set of features for Minecraft's fall game drop, and I gotta say I am super pleased with what they've shown so far. While the drop doesn't have an official name or set theme, we can get a pretty good idea of the core theme from the features we have seen. So far, Mojang has shown us the Dappled Forest, a new autumn theme biome, which I am super excited about. I have wanted to see this come to the game for a very long time, and with a new forest biome, we also get a new red plant as well as a new wood set, which is very similar to Pale Oak, but is more of a shade of gray than it is white. There's also a new abandoned camp structure which will be found all throughout the overworld, which finally brings wool stairs and slabs to the game, which would be great for implementing more color into builds. On top of the actual features shown, a few content creators were given information about a new shelf mushroom block, which will supposedly have the same effect as a slime block, and a new straw bed item that allows you to sleep without setting your spawn point. These features weren't necessarily confirmed for the fall drop, but they will most likely be included. With all these features in mind though, I think it's pretty safe to assume the game drop's overall theme is related to the season of autumn, as the new Dappled Forest is most likely the central focus of the drop. With each drop, there's always some leeway for random or unexpected features as well, so despite having an idea of the central theme, there's always an infinite amount of possibilities of what could actually come to the game. With all that being said though, an autumn theme drop has a ton of potential for new cool features, so that got me thinking, what else should be added to Minecraft's fall game drop? Well, the first feature I'm gonna mention just because I want to get it out of the way, as literally everybody's already asking for it, is concrete and terracotta slabs and stairs. As happy as I am that we are getting wool slabs and stairs, it really does make no sense that they would come before concrete slabs and stairs, which would be even more useful than wool for building. It wouldn't be too complicated for Mojang to add either. I'll be honest and say I don't see Mojang adding concrete slabs and stairs in this drop, as I think they like to sprinkle highly requested blocks throughout different drops as a little bonus feature, so I'm willing to bet they're saving these for a future drop. Even with that though, Mojang, please just add them, they would be so amazing. With the obvious feature out of the way, the next idea I'd like to bring some attention to is just more unique plant life. New plant life is always nice to get, as it gives builders more to work with and further fleshes out the biome itself. The biome currently has a red bush and will likely contain the new shelf mushroom as well, although I'm not sure if this shelf mushroom will be unique to the Dappled Forest. But on top of this, I would love to see Mojang add a new red or orange or maybe even black variant of the wildflower. The wildflower is such a great item that could easily be replicated just to add a little more diversity to the game. And if Mojang is adding the rumored shelf mushroom block, I would love to see some more ambient plants that could also be placed on the side of blocks. Whether it's more mushroom variants or some form of blooming flower, both would be really awesome for building more immersive landscapes. And while new plants are nice, I think most players will really want to see a biome unique mob for the Dappled Forest. And with an autumn theme, there's so many different mobs that could potentially fit the biome. The mob I've seen requested the most is a new brown bear, which makes sense as we already have polar bears and panda bears, so this would finally allow us to have the big three bears of the game. My question is, what would a brown bear even do? As the polar and panda bear both do practically nothing. They could just add the mob for the sake of it and have the brown bear be hostile towards the player and leave it at that. I don't think Mojang would give the brown bear a drop upon being killed, as they wouldn't want to promote harming the bear. I did have one random idea though for a potential function, and it would be to have the bear serve as a method to getting a new bear claw item. The bear claw item would let you climb up and slide down walls to avoid fall damage and traverse easier, with the catch of having a fairly low durability. To obtain the bear claws, you would throw a bottle of honey near a bear while trying not to be seen. If successful, the bear would go over and drink the bottle of honey, which would cause it to fall asleep for about 30 seconds. While the bear is asleep, you would run over and use a brush on the bear to obtain the bear claws. This is just a rough outline of what this feature could look like, but I think it's a cool idea, and I'm sure Mojang would be able to find a better way to implement it. I did mention that an autumn theme opens up the potential for a ton of different mobs to be added, so I do also quickly want to mention a few others that I think would be both fitting additions and just kind of cool to see in the game, even if they are solely ambient mobs. So just to mention a few, we have squirrels, owls, crows, deer, toads, black bears, or literally any form of bird. I think a new mob would really help bring this biome to life, so I'm hoping we see the Dappled Forest get one, even if it's not a mob I just listed. I'm also really hoping that if you've enjoyed this video whatsoever so far, you'll do me a favor and like this video as well as subscribe so you never miss out on another video just like this one. It's completely free and helps the channel out a ton, so thank you. Now, when I think of autumn, there's a couple staples that come to mind besides just red and yellow leaves, one of which is the food. I think maple syrup could be a perfect new addition to this biome, being found occasionally on trees and being harvested simply with a bottle. Now, what would maple syrup be used for besides just consumption? Well, there's a few things. First, it could be used in an alternative crafting recipe for sticky pistons, potions, as maple syrup is obviously a sticky food. 2, it could be placed on the ground, similar to how you can place resin and string on the ground to slow players down when stepping on it. 3, it could be used alongside flour to craft pancakes, which would be another food like cake that you place down and slowly eat away at, with the pancake stack getting shorter with each click. I'll be honest, I don't have some crazy fleshed out mechanic for maple syrup, but I wanted to mention it as I thought it would be a fun and fitting addition to the biome and overall theme of the update. And on a similar note, staying on the topic of food, autumn is frequently associated with harvesting crops, so this drop could be a good time to introduce a new crop. If we were to see a new crop, my mind immediately goes to corn. Now, I don't know if corn would necessarily fit into the dappled forest itself, but I do think it would fit well into villages in the autumn theme overall. And adding a new food is always kind of tricky, as if you give them unique effects, they kind of take the place of potions, and if you just add them for the sake of being eaten, many players will complain and ask what was even the point of adding it in the first place. Both are valid criticisms in my opinion, but honestly, if corn was to be introduced as a new crop, I don't think it would do much beyond being another new food and allowing for players to make big cornfields and just have another decoration for farmy builds. I don't think Minecraft really needs more crops without a complete overhaul to the farming system itself, but I honestly would be totally fine with Mojang adding corn as just another crop for the sake of it, as it feels like a staple of the farm aesthetic that we're currently missing. Anyways, moving on from autumn crops, I want to take a look at some potential new farming mechanics. Last fall, we received the copper golem, which organizes all of your items for you. But what if there was a new golem used specifically for farming? I'm pretty sure there's some form of farming golem in Minecraft Legends, but I'm not exactly sure because I couldn't play the game for more than 5 minutes without falling asleep. But what if a new farming golem was introduced that functioned similarly to a copper golem by harvesting all of your crops and then placing them into a nice new basket item, which would basically be a chest with, let's say, 5 to 10 slots that only holds crops and seeds. This would allow you to automate some of your farms, and I just think would be a really cool addition. I also really want to see more golems come into the game, so maybe I'm a little biased. Some may argue that introducing mobs to automate different aspects of the game will remove the need to farm yourself, but I kind of disagree, as if it's anything like the copper golem, it's going to be very slow, and doing it yourself or building a redstone farm would be much more effective. The point of the golem is just to let it harvest your crops while you're busy doing other activities and kind of serve as a little bit of ambience. Now, I will say there's probably a 0% chance Mojang adds this in the next drop, but I think it's a really cool idea, and I think it would fit within this drop very well, and most players would probably be pretty stoked to see another golem come to the game. Taking a turn away from the autumn theme itself, I want to address some potential additions to the new campsites. Well, I'm not exactly sure if anything will be found there. I think it would be another good opportunity to integrate archaeology into a structure. Archaeology is a very underutilized game mechanic, mostly due to the fact the places you can actually dig up are either really hard to reach, like being underwater, or they're just not fun to explore. This structure would be a great, easy way to introduce players to the mechanic and could introduce some more pottery trims alongside it, or maybe even armor trims or like a new music disc. I've actually seen people talk about a camo armor trim being found in this structure, and I think that would fit perfectly for the idea of what this structure is. I don't have much else to say about this structure, but I definitely think this should be added to it. I know it has been rumored to potentially serve as a small village, possibly spawning with like 1 to 2 villagers, but the structure's future is just really up in the air right now, so it could be any of these things. And the last feature I think would be a fun addition to Minecraft's fall game drop is simply just more jack-o'-lantern variants. If the drop's central theme is autumn, I think it could be cool to add a couple different face variants for the carved pumpkin, which could be changed by continuously using shears to carve the pumpkin, just like how you would break and replace a painting. It's simple, nothing too crazy, but I think it would make for a nice little addition to the drop. From what we've seen so far, Minecraft's fall drop is shaping up to be a really good one, and we've only seen the first set of features to be coming. The other features that could be brought into this update later into development are really a mystery, but these ideas are just a few that I think would be really cool additions to help evoke the feeling of autumn and just make for an overall really exciting game drop. But what do you guys think of these ideas? Do you have any ideas of your own? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, so leave any you have down in the comments below. With that being said, if you did enjoy this video whatsoever, do me a favor and smash the like button and subscribe so you never miss out on another future upload. It's completely free and helps me out a bunch, so thank you. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.